Hello, my name is Diana Benavides, and this video is brought to you by the Office for Academic Innovation. In this video, we're going to talk about the things you should keep in mind when working with a points-based grading system in Canvas. As you may know, there are two ways you can have Canvas calculate your grades. It is points or a percentage or weighted system. The assignment tool default is points. In this case, we are going to be talking about using a point structure in Canvas. Some students and some instructors find points-based gradebooks easier to manage and understand. It is very important that the way you set up your gradebook calculation matches exactly what you say your grades are going to be calculated on your course syllabus. So let's take a look at how that works in Canvas. I am in one of my practice courses and I am going to navigate to my assignment section. And this is where I organized my assignments for my entire course in assignment groups. I have a scenario where I have decided I'm going to have papers, participation, midterm, and I'm going to have a final. Each group section is going to have its own points value. I have decided that my papers are going to be 6 papers total, and they're going to be worth 25 points each, which is what you see. I have added 6 assignments and they're worth 25 points for a total of 150 points for papers. On my participation section, I have decided that I'm going to give my students potentially 50 points, 10 points per each assignment, each task that I'm giving them, to a total of 50 points. Then I have a midterm that I have decided to be worth 100 points, and the final is going to be worth 200 points. This comes down to a total possible points of 500 points for these course. Now let's look at what that looks like in the gradebook. You can see that all of the graded assignments and all of the graded tasks that I have on my course, they show in each column in my Canvas gradebook. And I can see that I have graded some of my students. I have graded my test student as practice as well. You can see the total is showing in percentage. However, when I click on the percentage on that cell, it gives me the points that it will be equivalent to that percentage. So far, the student has accumulated 47 out of 75 potential points because she didn't get all the points from all these 3 assignments. So that is where the 47 points are coming, and that is where the 75 points are coming from, the total possible points for each of these assignments. Then my test student, when I click on it, it gives me all the possible points that my student has gotten so far. So this student has gotten most of the points of this course so far. If I am not comfortable with the total column showing in percentages, I can change that through these 3 vertical dots at the top right next to the total. I click on that and I decide to change it to display as points. I get a warning sign that is letting me know that the total points are going to show not only to me but also to my students, which I'm okay with that. So I'm going to say continue. Now the total column displays in points instead of percentage. I can still do the opposite of what I did before. When I had percentages, I could click on the cell and I could see the points. Now is the opposite. I click on the cell and I can see the percentage. Same thing on this cell, same thing on these ones. The students have not been graded at all. Now let's talk about when it's time to submit grades in Howdy. We are going to need to set up a grading scheme. Ideally, you want to set up that at the beginning of your course. So let's look at how you get to turn on that grading scheme. So I click on my 3 horizontal lines at the top so I can see my course navigation again. I'm going to go to the course settings, and for my course details, I need to be able to enable these course grading scheme. Check that box. Below that, I have set grading scheme. The default grading scheme in Canvas is one that includes the plus and the minus, so A minus, B plus, B minus, minus. I do not want to use that grading scheme, so I get to use a different grading scheme right here. Select another scheme, and I also have an edit pencil that allows me to edit these grading scheme that I have by default. I'm going to select another grading scheme because I already have one ready for this course, and I have named it in here. By default, you will see that the school has integrated some grading schemes for you to choose from. Course letter grade 0 to 60%, it's an F. 60 to 70%, it will be a D, and so on and so forth. You can choose that one if that works for you. And you also have this other satisfactory and unsatisfactory, but I have created my own, which is right here. I name it with that acronym of my course, mobile friendly course design grading scheme. And I have already set up my own grading scheme because I wanted my F to be from 0 to 20%, from 20 to 40% a D, and so on and so forth. You can see, so I'm going to use this grading standard, and then I'm going to click done. And then the last thing I want to do in this area is update course details to make sure that that grading scheme gets saved in my course. Now when I navigate back to my grades area, and you can see that my total column now displays letters, what is going to be sent to Howdy when it's time to send midterms and final. Now let's take a look at what the students will see on their view once we have set up our point system. Let's take a look at student view right here at the top and navigate to the grades. My test student has already been graded on a lot of these tasks. You can see my test student is only missing the score for the final exam, but he pretty much has grades on every single item. So they see all the items listed, and then at the bottom they will see those 4 assignment groups that we had created. So the students can see at the bottom, papers are worth 150 points, participation are 50 points, midterm 100 points, and then the final, the student still doesn't see anything in there because they haven't taken the exam, but right here at the top he knows that it is worth out of 200 points. So at the bottom it also sees how much this test student has accumulated so far. He has completed 280 points out of the possible 500 points that he can accumulate in the course, but so far he has completed what is worth 300 points without counting the final exam. Right here on the right hand side area, the student can also see that so far he has an A, and that is how you can work on your points based gradebook, and you can also enable the grading scheme. I hope you find this helpful.